friends, and welcome back to my crafty space where I share my memory keeping projects and processes with all of you. If this is your first time here, hello and welcome. My name is Crystal and I am super excited that you are all here today. Today I am working on another story project using the most current Ali Edwards story kit with the theme of we. So for this project, I wanted to take the prompt, the story of us, and tell a very bird's eye view story of how my life has gone from being me to me and Aaron, and then for each of our kids coming on. So how our family came to be, the origin story of our family. So I have printed a 6x8 photo here, and I printed this stamp set. It's a digital stamp directly onto my photo. Then I've got a journaling block here, which this is my story, in addition to a chipboard piece. So this piece I'm going to cut out, layer up, and put on the photo just to give it a little bit of dimension over here and texture. And then this I'm going to cut out and adhere to either a mixed media page I made a long time ago that I think goes pretty nicely with my photo, or I'm going to adhere it to this pattern paper that I just recently got from scrapbook.com. This is the Field Trip. Does it tell me what the name of it is? Field Trip Seek Knowledge, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, it's definitely Field Trip by Chamel paper. I will link it down below for you guys in case you are interested in picking it up for yourself. But I have not decided yet if I'm going to use the pattern paper or if I'm going to use the mixed media page as my second 6x8 page. So regardless, whichever one I use, I think my idea right now is to cut this out and then adhere it on and perhaps stitch just inside of this black line. We will see how that goes. I may or may not back this on maybe black or gray or some kind of solid cardstock just to help it pop out from the page. We'll see that as we go too. So before I get to assembling this page for today, I am going to take you over and start you on the computer in Photoshop Creative Cloud to show you how I got the stamp on my photo, and to show you guys how I made this journaling block using one of the digital cards from the We Story Kit. So let's head on over to the computer and I'll show you that, then we'll come back and we'll put this thing together. All right, friends, so here we are on Photoshop Creative Cloud, and I have pulled up here the idea, or kind of the outcome of what this page is going to look like digitally before we take it over to my desk to get it put together and assemble the rest of it. So before we get to the assembling, I'm going to show you how I created these couple of pieces. So first of all, I have this full 6x8 photo over here that I'm going to add a digital stamp to, and I'll show you how I broke it apart in order to get it on the steps of this photo right here. This little this is our story chipboard is just resized a little bit, and I'm going to print that on plain white cardstock. And then I'm going to show you how I created this journaling spot using one of the journaling cards. So let's go ahead and get started with this. First, let me show you how I did that photo. So this is the photo that I started with. First thing I did was just, a couple of edits, just brightening it up and increasing the contrast, that sort of thing. And then I also often like to go into the camera raw filter, which is, I use a Windows computer, so I select Control-Shift-A. I'm not exactly sure how to get there on a Mac, but it's basically the camera raw filter. So this lets me increase some of the clarity and get rid of the haziness to the picture and just increase my saturation a tiny bit since I brightened it up. When I usually brighten and adjust contrast, it takes away a little bit of the color in the photo. So I just like to add a tiny bit back. So that's going to be my photo. Next, I need to crop it into a 6x8 inch photo. I'm going to just keep the whole thing and hit enter. That's going to give me my photo there. Then let's bring this to fit on the screen. That way I can just see all of the different stairs and all the things. And what I want to open next is this stamp set. So this was part of the We Story Kit, or the story stamp. So Originally, I thought about just adding the whole stamp on just like that, but when I put it on the photo, I actually thought it would be cool to put it on the stairs as though it were written on each of the stairs. So to do this, what I did is I broke the words apart. So I needed to grab my marquee tool in my toolbar, and I'm just going to select each of the words. Let's start with the word the. We will right click, and I'm going to say layer via copy. Then I can hide that layer, re-click on the original one, and do the same thing for the word story. Same thing, we're going to layer via copy, and then we'll hide that layer and click on the original one last time. I guess actually I don't have to, but I do because I layer via copied everything. So then, yeah, we're going to select of us and then right click and layer via copy. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide my background, and then I'm just going to bring up the first word, the. Now you can see that there are portions of the word story on here, so I'm just going to grab my eraser, make sure that I've got that layer selected, and then I'm going to get rid of those little bits and pieces, just like that. So there's the word the. Let's do the same thing for story. I need to get rid of the tiny little bits here. And there we go. There we go. And then let's also do it for of us. Make sure I've got that selected, and then we can get rid of those little pieces. So now if I reveal all of those pieces, we have the same stamp. So what I want to do is select the word the first, and I'm going to copy just that layer, go back over to my photo, and paste that word on here. So now this one, I want to go up into that first stair area. So I'm just going to reduce the size down until I get it into the square or into that area on the stair where I want it. So I think that looks good. And I wanted to keep this one black because if I turn the words white, you won't be able to see them very well. But the other two, I thought it would be cool to make them white. So let's grab the, you know what, let's just grab white. Let's just change it right now. I'm going to use my paint can to do this. Let's go story, and I'm also going to just hit these while I'm at it. There we go. Okay. So let's grab the word story. We're going to copy it, do the same thing, paste it right onto my photo, and then we're going to resize it so that it will fit inside of the stair, just like that. And then let's do the last one of us. Now this one I ended up making bigger than the stair just because I wanted it to be a little bit bolder. Let's do that. So what I ended up doing was making it fit so that the us word fit on the stair, but the of, like I was okay with this part going off. So I'm just going to adjust that on there, hit the enter button, and that gives me my stamped title. I actually might want this just a tiny bit smaller so that the F also stays on at the top of the stair. Okay, that looks pretty cool. So I'm going to close out of the stamp, and next let's open up that little, is that the one I used? No, that is not the one I used. Do I not have you in here? Where did I get you? This is the one. I used this little flag right here. It says, this is our story. This is a chipboard piece. That's a digital chipboard piece. And I'm just going to copy it and paste it right here onto my photo. I did resize it because I wanted it to be a little bit smaller, to be like less conspicuous, I guess. And let's budge that over. Now this I am going to print separate, but I want to change the colors of it. So I will actually change that, I think, on the original one to make it easier. I'm going to grab my eyedropper, and what I did is I made it this like yellow color from Erin's shirt. So I grabbed the color with my color picker, got my paint bucket, and then I colored the background that yellow. Then I switched for my black, and I just went back over all of these letters with black. First of all, it helps to like fill it in so it doesn't look as pixelated. And also it helps the word to stick out a little bit better. And there's, quite a bit of black in my page already, so it just ties it all in. Nope. with that. So I will just do this last one. So there we go. Now I will copy you and paste you back over here. Let's get rid of that one we had before. And then we're going to shrink it down again, just to make it not stand out as much. And this is good. So when I print this out, because I want it at this particular size, when I create a canvas for printing, an 8.5 by 11 page, that's just, the cardstock that I'm going to use, I will make sure that this layer is selected, copy it, and then paste it right over onto my canvas. Now I know that that is the correct size that I want. But okay, because I don't need to do that right now. So there's my photo. Now let's go back to that page. So here we go. So that's the left side. Let me show you how I got this right side done. Let's get out of that. I'm just going to close out. Oh yeah, see, there's my little thing for print. Okay, so to make the journaling space, the first thing I did was open up a new canvas sized 6 inches by 8 inches. That's just what I want to use this time around. Then I am going to open up this card right here that says The Story of Us, Moments and Memories. Now what I'm going to do, just to make things easy, I'm going to grab my color picker and pick up this like off-white color. It's not a true white, so it's easier if I just pick that. Then I'm going to put it in the background color so that when I erase all of this stuff, that is the color it's going to fill it with. And it's just going to make it all blend together. Okay, so now we've got this. Next, I'm going to select all of it, copy it, and we're going to paste it right onto our 6 by 8 canvas. From here, what I want to do is use my marquee tool. Actually, no, before I do that, I want to make you bigger. So I want this to go not all the way to the edge, but I definitely want it to fill up a good portion. A good portion of the space in here. So I think that's probably good. And maybe like right there from the top. So we're going to hit enter, and that it'll, clear it all up and bring it all into focus. Then I can grab my marquee tool, and I'm going to select a portion where it is like the full width all the way down to the bottom. We're going to right click and say layer via copy. Then I can take that layer I just made and bring it down until, see how it breaks off there? I don't want that. I want it to connect. So that is probably good right there. Then I can come over here and merge these layers together. So we can merge those layers. And honestly, we can just merge the whole thing together. That doesn't really matter. Then we're going to do this one more time. So we're going to grab that marquee tool, go somewhere in the middle, all the way down to the bottom, right click, layer via copy. Then switch to your move tool and move it down until the bottom seems to be in line space-wise with the top, which I think that probably looks good. And we're going to merge the whole thing. Okay, so this is eventually going to become our journaling spot. First, what I want to do here, let me grab that background color and change it to like a full white, just because I want the white. And then I'm going to switch that into my foreground. Grab my paint bucket tool, and I'm going to paint that off-white section a true white. So now I like the way that that looks. Next, I'm going to grab my magic wand here, magic wand tool. I also want to make sure that this background layer is unlocked. That's going to allow me to edit this whole thing. Then with my magic wand, I'm going to pick up the blue color and hit the delete button. And that is going to get rid of the area around my white journaling spot. So then I can unselect everything, or Control D for unselecting. And this is where I can put my journaling in. The problem is that when I go to print this, I'm not going to know where my cut lines are unless I have a background on it or a stroke around it. So like if let's unselect this. Let's say I went and put a bunch of text in here. A bunch of text that would be black, not white. So yeah, let's say I put a bunch of text in here. Okay. All right. And then I, had everything merged together. So then I was going to print this. when I hit that print button, you can't see the lines. Like you don't know where, I don't know where I'm supposed to cut there. So what we will do is add a stroke to this. So let's undo what I just did and get rid of that journaling because I don't care about it. So with the layer just plain like this, we're going to go over to edit and then toggle down to where it says stroke. Okay, so here you can change this to whatever pixel width you want. I'm just going to use a pixel width of 1. I want it to be super thin. And you can use whatever color you want, like gray or, black or whatever. I'm just going to use black because, again, it doesn't really matter that much to me. Although, yeah, it doesn't really matter. So that's fine. And I'm going to keep everything else the same and I'm going to hit OK. And what you see happening here is it's going to add a little black line all the way around my shape. So now when I go to print this, my shape is there and I will be able to cut that out according to that shape. So, if you don't want the line to be as conspicuous here, you could totally have your stroke be a much lighter color. So let me show you what that would look like if I chose a gray, like a light gray instead of a black. It'll still add the line around it, but when you go to print it, it'll be lighter than just the straight up black, but you'll still be able to see it in order to cut it out. So, hey girl. So that is how I created my journal spot. Then I just added my journaling in order to create this right here. And now it's totally ready for me to print. So, that is that. So what I'm going to do is print off all these pieces and then I'll meet you guys back over at my craft table and we'll get this process going. Okay, so back at my desk, I am going to get started by getting everything trimmed out that I just printed. So I've got the photo and the little chipboard piece and then also this the background paper. So I decide ultimately to go with the mixed media background paper. I just think that it looks really cool with the photo. And once I get this journaling spot all cut out and kind of placed on top of it, I just think that it looks really cool and allows that journaling to super pop out. I do ultimately decide to add a background paper as well. I will pull out a darker gray color from a neutral paper pad that I have. I purchased that from Michaels, and I will adhere the white cardstock piece down onto the gray paper and then trim just really close around the edge. So it's just a really thin line. Now, when I went to cut this piece of paper down, I originally thought that I would go ahead and make that portion outside the pocket and then realized that I trimmed it too narrow. So here, what I'm doing right here is just trying to figure out how to salvage what I've done. And I decide to just trim it down to another 6x8 and figure that this can just go inside another page protector and that's totally fine too. So that's what I'm doing, is just trying to figure out the best placement. Now, this mixed media background paper I made using a jelly plate and acrylic paints. I just had a day when I was playing around with them, making a bunch of different prints. I have already used some of the ones that I had played around with, and this was one that I just had remaining. So it was kind of nice to be able to just pull out a background paper from my stash that was, some kind of, it was unique and one of a kind, but also went super well with my photo. That was really fun, and it made me feel good to use up something that I had created. This right here is where I'm going to adhere the white cardstock down onto that dark gray. Then you'll see I'm just going to hand cut with my scissors around the edge of it. I will use the trimmer just to get the edges, like that straight edge, really close and straight. And then I will use my scissors to cut around all the curves. Once I have that done, I'm going to pull over my sewing machine and work on getting this sewn onto that mixed media background. I do add a couple of strips of score tape to the back of of this element and stick it down onto the page just so that it won't go anywhere. But I just want to make sure that everything's going to stay adhered down permanently. And the best way for me to do that is to just sew it down. So I have, you see, a very, very tiny little area in between my text and the edge of the white cardstock. So I did have to keep my sewing machine nice and slow while I was stitching it on, and I really just took my time, and that played to my advantage because I was able to get the lines really nice and close to the edge, but where it all looks very even and good. I was proud of myself. I thought I do a really good job with this sewing. So yes, I'm very happy with it. After that, I'm just going to finish up the little embellishment piece. I will add a couple of pieces of recycled cardstock to the back of it just to give it a chipboard type feel. And then that is really going to complete this page. So while I work to finish it up, let's see if I can read you guys my journaling here. So this whole page was inspired by the Story of Us stamp set. And what I decided to do was to tell our family's origin story. You know what, honestly, I'm not going to have time to read it all to you. So let me just give you the gist. So I talk about the year that Aaron and I met and how we met. I talk about how we started dating, when he proposed, when we got married. I talk about how Dibs came to be in our life, and then when we decided to grow our family, when Isabella was born and what that was like, and then when we decided to grow our family again, and talked about Jonah being born and then what that was like, and now feeling like our family is just complete. So it's really fun. I will include some close-up pictures at the end of this post, or at the end of this video, but I will also post some close-ups for you guys on my Instagram. So if you are interested in reading this long version journaling or story, I will have that available for you guys over there on Instagram. So feel free to come and check it out. All right, friends, so that finishes up this spread. I think it turned out really cool. I'm really glad I picked this mixed media background just because I think it is so interesting, and I like that I made it, so it's something that nobody else has, and I thought the colors just are perfect with the clothes that we're wearing. We've got blue and red and yellow, and all of those colors are in here, so that just went really well, and it made the most sense. And I am glad that I outlined it with the gray. I think it just helps that journaling pop off the page a little bit better. But yeah, so this spread is really not, there's not a lot to it. It's just a lot of journaling and then this really awesome photo that I love of all of us. But I think that this was a really fun exercise in keeping things a little bit more simple, but at the same time having a really bold impact. And also an exercise in telling a story that spanned over a number of years. I thought that was really fun. So yeah, I hope that this inspires you and gives you maybe another story idea that you can use with the We Story Kit from Allie Edwards. If you guys have any questions about anything from this video, let me know in the comments down below, and I will get back to you and do my best to answer those questions. If you guys liked this video, give it a thumbs up down below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can see all of my future crafty videos. I will be back again tomorrow with the last tutorial in my layer template series. So make sure you stop back tomorrow to check that video out if layer templates are something you are interested in. Otherwise, I will see you towards the end of the week with a couple more projects that I have in the works. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great week this week, and I will catch you all in the next video. Bye now.